Every Arctic traveler suspects a continent or a dry island beyond the lines of the eternal ice, yet no such land or continent in the far north has been discovered on the Earth's outer surface. But that is not true. There are many accounts of people who have found it. If you look it up, there is an abundance of literature on it, actually. Though there seems to be a pattern with who can get to this place, which I will get to later. But the key is the pure heart. Earth is like one cell, that with a nucleus in the center. So there is another world beneath our feet. I find this fascinating. This world we call Earth is a cell, one of zillions of planets, which makes star systems, which makes up galaxies, which makes up the multiverse, which makes up the omniverse. So we can think that only life can exist on the body, like germs, for example, and all kinds of helpful bacteria. But are we discounting all the life activity and worlds that go on inside our own body? Are we to deny the intelligence of our own inner workings that we have yet to fathom? Could it be that the Earth, the Moon, the planets, their moons, the Sun, and the stars are probably all hollow spheres, with inner suns most likely at their centers? Are they all blue, or do their inner sun colors vary? Could polar openings likely exist on all these globes? Could the conditions for life naturally contain within each sphere on the inner surface with the inner sun shining, and not on the outer surface with an outer sun shining? Okay. This is similar to how we build houses to be inhabited on the inside, people living within the walls of the house, not outside of those walls, exposed to the elements. In like manner, all these worlds, including ours, are made as habitations for God's children and His other creations. Nephi said, "Behold, the Lord hath created the earth, that it should be inhabited, and He hath created His children, that they should possess it." 1:17:36. So when I look out at those other worlds, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, etc., which mainstream science tells me are too harsh to contain life, as the outer surface is unfit and there is no inner surface. For the scientists tell me they are all solid or liquid or balls of gas. I think of the above scriptures that tell me that worlds are created to be inhabited, and that there are inhabitants on the worlds that are present tense. This is a major contradiction to the mainstream science I'm receiving. But then along comes the Hollow Earth module, which corrects the errors, and suddenly the scriptures make sense. These are inhabitants on these worlds. There are inhabitants on these worlds, living on the inner surface of these spheres, bathing in the light of inner suns. What did you think Joseph Smith and Sydney were shown non-local extra-solar system worlds that were inhabited, and that the Lord skipped over the uninhabited local planets? Surely not. Prophets are shown only what pertains to them and their sphere of existence. They are shown what pertains to their locality. They are shown the worlds that exist in the solar system and refer to the inhabitants of these worlds. So men living in the moon or people living in the sun may not be just crazy 19th century Mormon ideas after all. Speaking of our immediate locality, the earth, I believe that the Lord has plenty of space to hide people, plants, animals, and things. He can place them on the earth, in the earth, and under the earth. And the Lord said, "And behold, all things have their likeness, and all things are created and made to bear record of them, both things which are temporal and things which are spiritual, things which are in the heavens above, and things which are on the earth, and things which are in the earth, and things which are under the earth, both above and beneath, all things bear record of me." Moses 6:63. If the solid earth theory were true, it would reveal or bear record of the waste of space of the Lord. Think about it. What an incredible waste of space. What an incredible waste of material to have such a large inhabited spheres completely filled with matter, so that man walks on and uses only a minute fraction of it. The thought of God accumulating all that matter into a solid ball just so that there is enough gravity for man to walk and run on less than 0.0001%. Or so if it is just plain, then it is just plain crazy. If we take into account the supposed uninhabited worlds just floating around for no purpose whatsoever, it becomes an even greater waste and an even crazier concept. God has got to be smarter than that. I believe that God is smarter than that, and that He has created hollow spheres, shells, that can be inhabited by men on the outside surface, inside surface, and even within the crust of those shells. The over-reliance by mainstream scientists on the relatively weak energy of gravity as the sole cause of all that is seen requires lots of mass to accomplish everything. Whether we are talking about huge balls of matter called planets or huge balls of matter called black holes, as they discount the role of plasma discharge, electricity, in creation. Everything takes billions and billions of years and requires lots of mass to accomplish anything. With a disconnection in the role of the much more powerful energy of electricity, scientists can't, or won't, accept a hollow earth theory, despite the fact that the evidence in favor of it is overwhelming. In truth, there is very little propping up the solid earth theory. We dig a hole in the earth and find lava and assume the whole planet is full of it. Is there just blood to the body and that is it? The hollow earth and plasma modules both confirm the hollow earth and plasma models both confirm, correct, and complement each other. When looking at plasma cosmology or plasma geology through a hollow earth theory lens, you see the hollow shell, inner suns and polar openings that most likely are there. When looking at plasma mythology, you recognize archetypes that obviously refer to inner Earth regions. When plasma cosmologists talk of galaxies giving birth to new galaxies by ejecting quasars from their poles, or planet stars giving birth to new planets by polar ejection, the polar holes of these objects come firmly into view via the hollow Earth. Wow. When looking at the hollow Earth model through a plasma lens, you see that the inner sun is not the standard mainstream model, but an arc lamp suspended at the center of the vacuum that exists when the shell of all these worlds, But an arc lamp suspended at the center of the vacuum that exists within the shell of all these worlds. When hollow earthers talk of how planet stars were created in rotation, you get the deeper understanding of the whirling vortex of electricity discharging plasma, throwing the matter out to the sides, leaving matter stuck in the very center to become the inner sun, and creating polar markings, holes, just like a concretion. Can't see. That's not a good excuse. Mormon theology also confirms, corrects, and complements both the hollow earth and plasma models. When either model is viewed through the lens of Mormon theology, suddenly the hand of God stands out like a sore thumb, and all things start to bear witness that the Creator made me. In other words, it appears that everything is a construct and not a coincidence. With these views, we suddenly are able to see that concessions no longer need to be made to mainstream scientists, and that LDS can now accept their scriptures exactly as they are. Suddenly creation can happen quickly. Planets can be hollow, electrogravity can be a possibility, legendary mythical stories can contain actual truth. The Lord can literally hide 10 tribes of Israel on planet Earth. Worlds can be inhabited, dinosaurs can still exist, and the location of the division of the spirit world can now be known. So where do we go from here? Again I look to the children. I was once watching this young girl, babysitting this young girl, and I asked her to draw me a picture of her and her unborn sister several years in the future. I found her drawing really cute and loved the imagination of the choice of color to color the skin blue. No, not imagination, the 4-year-old said. In this time we will have blue skin. She said this with such assurance. I do not know where she got this. Her parents were not at all aware or open to such an understanding. A few years later I asked this little girl about us having blue skin in the future, and she did not understand. why she had said that or where it came from.